This is this is the 23rd episode of the Spark Podcast, not including my non-content episodes and anything else I've put out that is just not as produced as my regular episodes where we learn things. As you can tell by the title, we're going to talk about Michael Jordan today. I think Michael Jordan has total ownership of the number 23. David Beckham attempted a hostile takeover when he moved to Real Madrid. I think it was Real Madrid. I'm not a big fan of soccer, but in my mind, Michael Jordan is the king of 23. It's very weird that someone can have a total ownership of a number, but he had such a big impact on the world of sports and on the world in the future for people of my generation and people before it. I think he stopped playing when I was a young child, so to be honest, I'm not a big basketball guy at all. I don't think I've ever watched a full game that I wasn't involved in. I played basketball very briefly in secondary school, and despite being 6'4" and quite athletic, I am fucking terrible at basketball. It's not the sport for me. Any sport that doesn't involve knocking people over or stopping people from knocking you over, I'm not good at. I'm very good at keeping my feet. I'm very good at taking people off their feet. If I can't run into someone and bludgeon them out of the way, I'm not going to be good at the sport. Rugby's the sport for me, really. Well, it used to be. But anyway, we're here to talk about Michael Jordan and the number 23. He was number 23 in high school and college, as well as for his career with the Chicago Bulls. Only once did he wear another number when playing for them. It was on Valentine's Day in 1990, when a thief stole his jersey from the locker room before the game. He tried on a fan's replica jersey because he wanted to wear the number 23, but it was too small. The equipment manager found an extra jersey that had only a number and no name on it. He was number 12 for the night, but that didn't stop him. He still scored fucking 49 points in one game, which is mad. Michael Jordan, his full name being Michael Jeffrey Jordan, or Air Jordan if you're so inclined, was born in Brooklyn on the 17th of February 1963. He was an American collegiate and professional basketball player, obviously, widely considered to be the greatest all-around player in the history of the game. Suck it, Kobe Bryant. Who's the other guy? LeBron James. I'm not a basketball fan, but Michael Jordan is the best. Because I'm talking about him. I'm an Irish guy. I'm talking about fucking Michael Jordan. The equipment manager... Sorry, where am I? I've lost my place in my notes. I'm talking about fucking other people now. It's Saturday morning. I've had a rough week. I just woke up to drive Laura to work. I just got back in the door and I'm not really sure where I am. It's too early. Michael Jordan led the National Basketball Association Chicago Bulls to 6 championships. So he won the championship 6 times. He grew up in Wilmington, North Carolina, and entered the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill in 1981. As a freshman, he made the winning basket against Georgetown in the 1982 National Championship game. Jordan was named College Player of the Year in both his sophomore and junior years, leaving North Carolina after his junior year. He led the US basketball team to Olympic gold medals in 1984 in LA and in 1992 in Barcelona. In 1984, Jordan was drafted by the Chicago Bulls. In his first season, 1984 to 1985, as a professional, he led the league in scoring. He led the league in scoring and was named Rookie of the Year. After missing most of the following season with a broken foot, he returned to lead the NBA in scoring for 7 consecutive seasons, averaging about 33 points per game. He was only the second player after Wilt Chamberlain to score 3,000 points in a single season. That was the 86-87 season. Jordan was named the NBA's MVP 5 times, 88, 91, 92, 96 and 98, and was also named Defensive Player of the Year in 88. In October 1993, after leading the Bulls to their third consecutive championship, Jordan retired briefly and pursued a career in professional baseball, weirdly enough. He returned to basketball in March 1995. In the 95-96 season, he led the Bulls to a 72-10 regular season record, the best in the history of the NBA, broken in 2015-2016 by the Golden State Warriors. From 96 to 98, the Jordan-led Bulls again won 3 championships in a row, and each time Jordan was named MVP of the NBA Finals. After the 97-98 season, Jordan retired again. He didn't go back to baseball. He's not as good at baseball as he was at basketball. Jordan remained close to basketball, buying a share of the Washington Wizards in January 2000. He was also appointed president of basketball operations for the club. However, managing rosters and salary caps was not enough for Jordan, and in September 2001, he renounced his ownership and management positions with the Wizards in order to be a player on the team. His second return to the NBA was greeted with enthusiasm by the league, which had suffered declining attendance and television ratings since his retirement in 98. After the 2002-03 season, Jordan announced his final retirement. He ended his career with 32,292 total points and a 30.12 points per game average, which was the best in league history, as well as 2,514 steals, the second most ever. In 2006, Jordan became minority owner and general manager of the NBA's Charlotte Bobcats, also known as the Charlotte Hornets. He bought a controlling interest in the team in 2010 and became the first former NBA player to become a majority owner of one of the league's franchises. During his playing career, Jordan, a guard, standing 6'6", was an exceptionally talented shooter and passer and a tenacious defender. He earned the nickname Air Jordan because of his extraordinary leaping ability and acrobatic maneuvers. And his popularity reached heights few athletes or celebrities of any sort really have known. He accumulated millions of dollars from endorsements, most notably for his Air Jordan shoes. He also made a successful film, one of the greatest films of all time, Space Jam, which we will talk about later. Don't worry, I will get to Space Jam, in which he starred with animated characters Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck. In 1996, the NBA named him one of the 50 great players of all time, and in 2009, he was elected to the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. He was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2016. So yeah, all around badass. Michael Jordan is just one of the greatest sportsmen of all time. He's just one of these elite athletes that stands out from the pack. It's just crazy. Like in soccer, there's a lot of contention between Ronaldo and Messi. Like, a lot of people think that Ronaldo is the best player in the world. Some people think Messi is the best player in the world. We can all agree they're fairly close. But for the longest time, it was Jordan. Michael Jordan, the best player ever. That's it. For the longest time. Now, people say that Kobe Bryant is getting close and LeBron James are getting close. But, like, in his day, Michael Jordan was the man. Most notably because he owns a fucking number. Number 23 is his number. He owns it. That's his. Forever. For every sport. Like, people emulate it. It's crazy. People want to wear the number 23 because of Michael Jordan. He also made shoes. You know, well, Nike made shoes for him. The Air Jordan 1 was first produced by Nike for Michael Jordan in 1984. It was designed by Peter C. Moore. The red and black colorway of the Nike Airship, the prototype for the Jordan 1, was later outlawed by the NBA commissioner David Stern for having very little white on them. There was a rule known as the 51% rule that was repealed in the late 2000s, where your shoes had to be at least 51% white. Weirdly enough. It's a common misconception that the Jordan 1 was banned. However, it was indeed the Nike Airship. After the Nike Airship was banned, Michael Jordan and Nike introduced the Jordan 1 in colorways with more white, such as the Chicago colorway and the Black Toe colorway. They used the Nike Airship's banning as a promotional tool in ads, hinting that the shoes gave an unfair competitive advantage for the Jordan 1, and that whoever wore them had a certain edginess associated with outlaw activities. If you wore these shoes, you were badass, and they would make you better at basketball. I think that's what the film Like Mike is based on. That film with Little Bow Wow. It's crazy. Like there's a movie based on, like, Michael Jordan isn't even in that movie, I don't think. Or maybe he is. Maybe he has a cameo in it. But like, Little Bow Wow finds these shoes and they give him the powers of Michael Jordan, and he's a child who goes to play in the NBA. I'm not even going to say it's unrealistic, because obviously it's unrealistic. He finds magic shoes. But yeah, that was basically the marketing thing for these Jordan 1s, is that they'd give you magic powers and make you amazing at basketball. The Air Jordan was originally released onto the market from 85 to 86, with re-releases known as retros in 94, 2001 to 2004, and 2007 to 2018. There's still Jordans being sold today. If you can buy them, they're fucking expensive. They're very popular in America. But Michael Jordan has had a bigger impact on my life than something else that he did had a bigger impact than his amazing basketball career and the shoes that he makes. The thing that impacted my life the most that Michael Jordan was involved in is Space Jam. Look, Space Jam is subjectively the greatest sports movie of all time. Don't get me wrong, Coach Carter is great, and Remember the Titans is good, but Space Jam is my fucking jam. Sorry, pardon the pun. Space Jam was fantastic. It's the only time we got to see Michael Jordan in a major acting role. As I said, he was the biggest he's the biggest sports star on the planet for over a decade, and Space Jam was where we got to see him try to act. For someone who had little prior experience in the industry, good job. The film also has Bill Murray in it at like the peak of his fame. It portrayed him in all his glory, and the few scenes that he's in are fucking hilarious. He's fantastic. The moment when he turns up to save the day for the Toon Squad is probably the highlight of the film, especially when he takes like the coaching burden away from Jordan and draws up the game-winning play himself, because he knows more about basketball than Michael Jordan does, apparently. It kind of touches upon Michael Jordan's real disenchantment with the sport. It also jokes about his retirement from basketball in order to pursue a career in professional baseball. It was one of the most shocking moments in the history of the NBA. He came off of winning 3 championships in a row and just quit. The reason he did that was because his father, who had just passed away, always wanted to see his son play baseball. Well, that's the rumor anyway behind it. So I think he just felt guilty, and I mean, if Michael Jordan wants to join your baseball team, you'll just be like, yeah, sure, fuck it, go on, give it a go. But back to Space Jam. It was filmed in 1995, a few months after Jordan had made his surprise reintroduction to the NBA. where his Chicago Bulls team were eliminated by the Orlando Magic in the Eastern Conference semifinals. While he had returned to the sport at this stage, throughout the beginning of the movie, he repeatedly claims, "I don't play basketball anymore." Ultimately, he was too much of a competitor in basketball to turn his back on the challenge of the Monsters, a situation that mirrored his real-life U-turn. He went on to win 3 more championships in a row that I've said after Space Jam. Space Jam is so cool that the original Space Jam website is still online. You can go have a look at it. What is the Space Jam website? I think it's just spacejam.com. Yeah, I think that, yeah, just go look up spacejam.com. It's fantastic. it's still the exact same. It's a real nostalgia trip. Because I didn't remember at the time, but when I went and looked at it, it hasn't changed. It's still the original posts, and it's like a real callback to a simpler time where everything was like a hyperlink. There was no nothing was graphically designed. There was no graphic design really. It's just like, here's a JPEG and click on this and you can look at another JPEG. It's trust me, go have a look at it. If you're as old as I am and you have been on the internet, if you were on the internet in the early 2000s, probably before 2010, look at this website and you'll be like, oh my god, it was all like this before. It's scary. Another thing about Space Jam, I'm just going to keep talking about Space Jam. The Monsters got their skills by stealing it from NBA stars. They sucked it right out of them. This contributes to some pretty good scenes in the movie where all stars like Charles Barkley and Patrick Ewing make fools of themselves on the court, and it's quite interesting to see. Also, Muggsy Bogues is in it, the shortest NBA player of all time, standing 5'3". So if you're a short guy, you've got to hope. The Looney Tunes could play ball once they got some of Mike's special stuff. So like after a shaky start to the game, the Toon Squad really kind of grow into the game. Just because they drank Mike's special stuff, which turned out to be water in the end. So it was really they had the ability in themselves all along, and Lola Bunny was actually pretty good. She was a damn good basketball player, if I say so myself. As an expert in basketball, she was the MVP for that night. The scene in the second half, at the end, when Michael Jordan is doing the slam dunk, it's the greatest dunk in the history of basketball. He jumps from halfway, with like 2 or 3 of the Monsters hanging off him, and his arm stretches out. It's like his arm is like 20 feet long at the end of it, and he just dunks it, and they win. It's the best fucking thing ever. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. People have been crying out for a sequel for 20 years, and I'm not excited about it at all. LeBron James is involved in it, and it's finally been announced. But I don't know. The thing about it to me is Michael Jordan, you know? LeBron has some big fucking shoes to fill. And don't take that lightly, because Michael Jordan has a lot of fucking shoes. But that's enough about Michael Jordan for one day. I don't really know anything more about him. I just had to do it, man. This is the 23rd podcast. When I see the number 23, I think of Michael Jordan. He's just had that much of an effect on me. Not on me, on the world. He hasn't really had much of an effect on me. It's just that number I associate with him. And maybe David Beckham, but mostly, like, David Beckham picked that number because of Michael Jordan, so it all goes back to him anyway. It's crazy. He just owns a number in pop culture. It just doesn't make sense. He was that good, I suppose, that they were just like, you are the number 23, and there's nothing we can do to stop you. And that's enough for today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the podcast. If you would like to contact me, you can tweet me at Podcast Spark, or you can comment in the comment section down below. If you would like to contribute to the Spark podcast, there's also a Patreon linked where you can opt in to buy me a coffee once a month. I'd greatly appreciate it, because coffee is what this whole thing is run on. Thank you very much for listening. Bye bye.